You are welcome to Spot On with StephREDD.
How are you, StephREDD, today?
I am fantastic. In Spot On with StephREDD, we talk about different topics, just different issues.
There's a form of artist in everyone.
I love to be very independent.
And the recognition of the genius that we are and who we are.
I sound very smart, but I have zero education.
I always learn something from everybody I work with.
To see how we can embrace new perspectives and, quite importantly, be able to progressively evolve with the fullness of who we are, the fullness of our genius.
When you are living a fulfilled life, that means that's the feedback loop that you are on the right path.
When you can give value to someone, that's your greatest gift to the world, and that's when people will listen to you.
And then begin to impact our world with that genius, one person at a time. Today we have an amazing, beautiful lady by the name Ieva. Ieva Strekaite is a certified high performance and mindful leadership coach and a graduate of the prestigious J. Shetty Certification School. With a passion for helping individuals find fulfillment and manage stress, Ieva focuses on creating transformative experiences for those who aim to make a positive impact. Her coaching journey was inspired by the realization that to create meaningful change in leadership, she needed to work with those already making a substantial impact, and that's leaders. Having held leadership positions herself, Ieva intimately understands the pressures, stress, and doubt that can accompany such roles. A pivotal moment occurred when her own well being, both mental and physical, reached a breaking point. Determined to find a solution, Ieva embarked on a journey of mindfulness, self awareness, and personal growth. Through months of exploration and numerous books, she not only found inner calm and happiness, but also gained valuable insights into effective leadership. Ieva's personal struggles and triumphs have shifted her understanding of leadership, emphasizing the vital role of self awareness. Her mission is to share the knowledge and tools she acquired, ultimately supporting individuals and leaders on their journey to success, happiness, and holistic growth. In today's conversations, Ieva brings a unique blend of expertise, offering transformative insights into leadership, compassion, and the power of maintaining a positive mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ieva. How are you, Eva? It's a pleasure to connect with you. You have such a beautiful and a contagious smile. Has anyone ever told you that? I hope I haven't happened to be the first one.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for this beautiful introduction as well.
You're welcome. So let's get down to it. Tell me, Eva, tell us about Ieva Strekaite.
Ieva is someone at the moment very inspired to help others. Before that, she went through the journey herself. Coming from Lithuania, I spent now 9 years abroad doing different things, working, exploring myself, and I came to the point where right now I am just on mission to make an impact as much as possible in the world, helping leaders to be more mindful and more positive, because that's what we need in the world, positivity, with all this negative news going around. Ieva is someone really kind and actually very compassionate person, but at the same time really ambitious and very determined to achieve her goals as well. And that's why I probably always related myself with leadership. I just want people to go for their dreams, for their goals, and I want to be the one supporting them and guiding them and celebrate other people, as well as I can celebrate myself sometimes as well.
So it's interesting, Eva. Thank you so much for that. It's interesting how you're speaking about Eva in the third person, like as you're speaking about someone, not yourself. But that's fine. That's totally fine. Because you were like, Eva, she is. And I was like, okay, is there someone outside of you? but that's you as well. So, what I would like to know is, at what point did you particularly begin to have this desire to want to impact leadership, and why?
This desire actually came very, very recently. When I started life coaching, I initially wanted just to help people to grow and just be best version of themselves. But through this course that I was going through myself to become life coach, I realized that if I want to make a bigger impact, I need to focus on people who make impact already, and that's
Okay.
leaders of all paths, right? So then I was started researching more, and I started reflecting on my own like experiences, what kind of leaders I had in my life, and I was like, yeah, I kind of always left organizations because of the leadership there.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, this is a real life problem we're
Mm.
trying to solve. So yeah, I really started researching about that and became really passionate because I understand how much impact leaders have and the example they're showing to others. And that's why I want to focus on them to help them make a positive impact rather just to be there in a
Mm.
position of leader and maybe not really being aware of what they're doing.
What was there before was the desire. So you first went for the desire, or rather, you fulfilled the desire of becoming a life coach of life coaching. And you said that because you wanted to help people be better. Tell me about that. When exactly did you start feeling like, I mean, it's not everybody just wakes up someday and say, I want to help. Because, I mean, they're like, I have not helped myself. Let me help myself first. So where did that desire come from to want to improve yourself because you wanted to impact someone or help someone else become better? And then you now going through the life coaching journey realize that, oh, the people that you want to be the leader's leader, you want to be the leader's coach. And I really like that. That's also a place of desire for me. You want to coach the leaders so that they more like be their voice of reason, so that they can know how to model better, be better, impact better. But going back to where the desire for wanting to help people came from, tell me, where exactly did it come from?
Yeah, you've put it really well as well. For me, it also started with myself. I started to want to help myself. It all started 2 years ago. I went through some traumatic experiences myself. I lost my brother,
Oh,
and
wow.
after that, I exited very toxic relationship that I was in for 6 years. And I was in a lot of grief and a lot of sadness, and I kind of lost the sense of life in general. But me, I always have this positive me inside. That's why I
Mm.
sometimes speak of Ieva as a third person. There is this little Ieva inside of me.
Okay.
And she was like, this is not okay.
Mm.
This is not you. The sadness, the depression.
Mm.
I wasn't just living. I was just really existing at that point. And I started researching. What can I do? How can I be happy again? Can I be happy again after all this experience? And I found mindfulness.
Mm.
And I started a course myself for mindfulness, awareness, meditations. I started meditating and I start sensing that I'm coming back to life. I started to appreciate small things, so a lot of gratefulness for what I have instead of thinking constantly what I lost. I start understanding things differently, be more aware
Mm.
what's around me. This course followed by more courses, more books around mindfulness, around psychology, neuroscience. I love the neuroscience with the brain and how it works. It really, I never thought that there's scientific explanation for everything that happens emotion wise, reaction wise. So understanding how my brain works was also this aha moment that I have power actually to change that. I have, our brain is flexible, neuroplasticity. So
Yeah.
we can take action and actually live our best lives. So it took me 2 years of different therapies as well, working with other coaches to become strong again, happy, inspired. And I was like, I want people to know this. Like, maybe so many people live
Mm.
their lives without having all these tools, and
Mm.
they're amazing. They actually make change, they help. And there was a little itch again for me, like, how can I do it? I have no idea. I'm not a therapist, not a psychologist. And then someone mentioned me life coaching, and I was like, okay, what is that? So I started researching life coaching, and the more I started researching, of course, Jay Shetty was one of the people who was constantly talking about these things, and I totally admire him for that. And I was like ticking more and more things. Yes, yes, yes. And I was like, I think I need to try that.
Mm. Mm.
And I believe it was the best decision. I feel so much on my path and that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's my purpose. And now I'm so happy that I can share everything that I learned through my own experience with other people who may need it, but they don't know where to start even. So
Wow.
that was yeah, all my path to come to this point now, 2 years later.
That's really amazing. Well done, Eva.
Thank you so much.
If I heard you correctly, so before you even met with Jay Shetty to do the life coaching certification course, you had already embarked on your own self journey, what
Yeah,
I like to call the self re-engineering journey. So
yeah,
the path of you trying to find out more about yourself and just to heal from the traumatic experience of losing your brother. I'm deeply sorry about that. And
thank
then
you.
being in a toxic relationship for 6 years. Why did it take you that long? Why did it take you that long? I mean, I want to ask, why did it take you that long to realize that, oh, this is toxic? What happened to a day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 6 years, Eva? Were you part of those that probably were thinking, it's going to change? Let's see how it goes. It's going to, or what
Yeah,
exactly? And I really just want, if it's okay,
yeah, absolutely.
to just peek it on there a little to ask what made you wait 6 years to identify that this was toxic and not good enough for me.
Yeah, so going back to all the relationship, I was also very young. We started when I was 21 year old. So I didn't know otherwise. I thought that's how it should be. I wasn't aware of these things. I didn't know what healthy relationship looks like. So I was just going along because I loved that person so much without knowing that sometimes love is just not enough.
Hmm.
And I was so hopeful that this is, the one, this is who I'm gonna marry at the end. And all these years they were toxic, but I was just hopeful that this is it.
Yeah.
But yeah, years later, what I realized was that when my brother passed away, that person completely isolated me and left me alone to deal
Hmm.
with all the pain.
Oh,
And
wow.
this was my wake up call. I was like, this is not okay. That's not the love of my life. If
Hmm.
it was, it would be, just trying to protect me, help me,
Yeah.
shelter me. But instead, I got totally the opposite, isolation. And it was very hurtful, very painful,
Wow.
but it was the right decision. It didn't happen overnight that, this happened and that's it, we're over. I took more than half year to physically separate from that person so I can have my mind in the right place,
Wow.
to start evaluating, to start reconnecting with myself. And yeah, more than half year later, I thought that this is, yeah, the decision to make. It's not the relationship I want to continue.
So here am I thinking that you, so you had said that you were young. I mean, 21. You're an adult, darling. What?
Yeah,
When
but
I mean, you're like, I thought you were going to say I was young, I was 16, but then when you said 21, I was like, girlfriend, 21, you're an adult. But scratch that, right? But when you said you didn't know what a healthy relationship was like, and that happens to many of us, not
yeah,
knowing what is probably that was not existent in our family, in our immediate family where we had parents, and probably
yeah,
we didn't see what a love, a commitment, or loyal relationship or supportive and helpful relationship was like. So how were you now able to tell that, because you said you were there, you didn't know what it was like, so you just took anything. At what point did you realize that, okay, this is not what it should be, and I have to get out of here? And then what made it, you said 6 months of transition to
yeah.
detach yourself. So asking two questions in one. The first question is, at what point did you realize that even though you didn't have a background of what a healthy relationship should be like, at what point did you realize that, okay, this is not healthy? And then when you realize it, why did it take you 6 months to detach?
It's very, very good question. I think it was all just like so physical and mental as well, because when I understood that it's not the right thing, when I was isolated, let's say just crying in my bed, over loss, and I didn't have any support, this is for me was the indication it's not
Yeah.
the right person. And of course, I had all history of toxic behaviors there, and I felt physically sick. Honestly, I just felt physically sick. It was so stressful, and my body was just giving up, on the situation, kind of. And that's why I needed to physically remove myself from my house, from the person, just not to be influenced by this anymore, so I can start healing. And it was very, very difficult. It's 6 months. It was just the beginning of the healing that gave me the initial strength to move forward. um, it was constant back and forth. Should I continue, should I not? Maybe things will change, maybe not. But at the same time, when I was growing, I was communicating with that person, and I realized at the end that he's not growing. So there is no way for happily ever after. Yeah,
So it would have been a situation of one person progressing and the other person being stagnant, and the
yeah,
possibility that the
exactly.
stagnant person could also begin to stifle the progressive person. And that tends to
Yeah,
happen a lot in relationships. How did you find the inner strength, right, to help you navigate this ordeal? So I'm sure, was this, you had mentioned that you had lost your brother. Was this in the same time frame for where you were in the relationship, or after you had lost your brother? And how did you eventually, because I can't imagine the level of grief you may have been going through, and then to now think that the person that you really loved would be there for you, and then you find out it's toxic. It can actually be, it's like as though that's derobing. It can actually bring you to your wits' end. But how did you find the strength in yourself, right, to navigate despite these challenges that you were experiencing? Where did the strength come from? Where did the, because sometimes I have seen people who are stuck. Some do not come out because they just feel, you know what? It's either because they say, I've never loved anybody else, let me just manage this one. Or they would say such things like, how am I sure the next person I'm going to go to wouldn't be worse? So they call it Stockholm syndrome, or they could even leave and come back. They say, you know what? There's
mm-hmm,
this thing they
mm-hmm.
say that the lion that you know is better than the sheep that you don't know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So they keep coming back to the lion that they know because it's somewhat familiar territory.
familiar. Yeah,
So there are people and that I have engaged both as a coach and a therapist in sessions with my clients, and also people that I know in familiar terrain or in family members or friends, who I recognize, and even people I don't know, but I just in proximity, either because I know through a third party, I realize that this person is stuck in a toxic relationship. They know it, but they don't want to get out
Mhm.
of it, or they just feel, oh, that is their fate. They're stuck in it. That is their portion for life. How did you not turn out to make that kind of decision, but instead chose to find your way out of that challenging situation? Where did the strength come from? Where did the awareness come from? Where did the determination to progress come from?
Yeah, you put it very well, saying that people, they just go back to what's familiar to them, and because sometimes even healthy relationship, we don't recognize it because all this unhealthy relationship, that's all we know. It's filling the void of our childhood trauma, really, right?
Absolutely. You got it. I wish I
So
had a bell at this point. I would have gone ding, 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 ding. You got it. Okay. Yeah.
so for me, the strength was always in me because as a child, I was also very resilient. I experienced so much rejection in my childhood as well from friends and
Mm.
my parents that I was always just me. I had only myself. And that's what always was just pulling me forward. I don't know, I'm just so self motivated as well. Maybe it's just my character like this, but when I'm not happy,
Okay.
it's my indication that something is wrong.
Mm.
And that's what kept me going, understanding that I wasn't happy with that person. I found my new happiness, which was actually being by myself, reading, watching videos, podcasts, just drowning myself in knowledge and some kind of, I entered a new world for me. So I was like, wow, this is so much better.
Oh gosh, I
And
love the
I
sound
heard
of that.
something very good just very recently that sometimes people, they really don't like themselves so much that they just choose any partner just not to be alone. But when you truly love yourself, you
I need a
prefer to
bell. I
stay.
need a bell. I need a bell. Oh gosh, I should get a bell for the next episode. I mean, such moments are, yeah. Oh gosh, you just said it, girl. Yeah.
Right? So they just choose anyone. But when you truly love yourself and you value yourself,
Yeah,
you choose
absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A very beautiful part, which I think is significant, and whoever is watching this episode should realize that
Yeah.
knowledge is such, and it's such it's such an awareness that you get
Yeah.
just by seeking knowledge. I once heard from a very senior coaching colleague that what you know is not all that there is to know.
Yeah.
And many things that you think are rock solid that you have come to believe, if you look deeper, they are not always so. There's always a different perspective. There are
Yeah.
always new
For sure.
things to there are new things to peel off. And as human beings, we are progressively becoming. And that's why I call it a self re-engineering journey, because who I am today may not be who I will be in 10 years' time. There's so much to learn, there's so much to peel off. And I can't keep
Yeah.
holding on to this is who I am, this is my fate. Oh, this is the person that I have found, so this is where I'll stick to. This is how the blow that life has dished to me. So I'm just going to take it. And I like to say that, hey, that saying that when life throws you lemons, you do what? You make lemonades.
Make a lemonade.
But what if I don't know how to make lemonade? You need the skill to make it.
Of
So
course.
you
Right?
first, you need sugar, you need water, and you need to know the right mix. You need to know how to do it. So what if you
Yeah.
don't know how to do it? What about considering such options like when life throws you lemons, you dodge it? Or like when
Could be.
life throws you lemons, you catch it and throw it right back? That's an option.
It is
Yeah.
an option, of
Yes.
course.
So,
Yeah.
what are the different options that we can consider as against just sitting? We can improve ourselves. We can choose to not play the victim, not become the victim, but become the empowered. And just listening to you it's evident that you chose to not play the victim card, to say, "Oh, I regardless of my background, I wasn't shown love. I wasn't shown the kind of appreciation that I wanted." That is
Mm-hmm.
victim.
Yeah.
I'm the
Yeah.
victim to life. I'm the victim of the family that raised me, of the environment I found myself. But then, how do I empower myself and change my perspective to no longer play from that place? And I don't know if, so you have said, just listening to you, I'm wondering, where did you hear it from? How did you begin to think that way? At what point did you realize that there could be more, that you could choose yourself? How did you even know? You talked about mindfulness. How did you know about mindfulness? How did you realize that mindfulness was a good option to help you navigate the path to finding yourself and then helping people find themselves? How did you come to that point?
I would just think that you need to be curious to try everything, everything
Mm,
and anything. Maybe mindfulness worked for me and meditation worked for me. It might not work for someone else, but anything else, maybe even cooking can be an option for you just to get out, do something that you normally don't do. And then it just follows. Nowadays on internet, you start searching one thing and suddenly more things around the topic comes up. So
begin to
just
pop up.
start
Absolutely.
clicking. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, the same with the all the knowledge and self awareness. Maybe I think I probably started listening to Jay Shetty's podcasts, but then suddenly there was Lewis Howey, there was another podcaster, there was another influencer, and I just started picking up on that. I'm like, wow, there's so many, and I'm still to this day learning new people. My friend said, "Oh yeah, I heard about this guy many years ago," and I was like, "It's the first time I hear it, but I love him." It's just continuously be curious.
Yeah.
There's always something to learn,
Mm.
and the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Exactly.
Because when you don't know what you don't know. But when you're learning, there's just so much more. There's this topic, another topic. Suddenly you start maybe healing one part of yourself, and then situation comes where you're triggered. Be curious. Why are you triggered? What hurts?
What is, so just today, oh, this is really interesting. So just today, I was reading up something on LinkedIn, a TED talk by a particular woman, and she
Mm-hmm.
was talking about incivility in the workplace and how people have lacked their, so incivility being that you're rude or you give rude retorts or that you are unkind to people at the place of work and you really don't care how they feel, and sometimes we attribute it to stress, right? And
Yeah.
we say, okay, because you're stressed, you talk to people rudely as a leader, you talk down at people, or you give rude remarks or sarcastic remarks. And one of the things I said to that, to in response to that, was all of that, of course, is great analysis to show, yes, they're saying they're whatever it is, they are stressed. But I think we need to, every time we say we're stressed, we need to break it down. Our
Mm-hmm.
inability, just like you said when we started with the chat before we started this session, you asked how are you, and I told you how I typically break it down. When I say when we come out to say I'm stressed, that's just an umbrella. What exactly is stressing you? And I ask, the question is, what we need to ask ourselves, what is biting me? Right? Because sometimes something is biting us and we don't even realize what is biting us, and then we go around biting other people. What is biting me? Why am I having to bite other people? Are they responsible for what is biting me? Does biting them resolve what is biting me? How do I navigate out of whatever is biting me, become whole and not, and also help other people to get some level of soft landing while we're engaging together without having to bruise them as well? So it is really important that we're able to break down what we feel, identify that thing that we feel, and begin to say, why am I feeling this way? Where did this come from? And it just takes a whole lot of willingness, to want curiosity, like you called it, to want to learn, to want to know more, right, about ourselves, about what's going on inside of us, and then begin to project correctly. Yeah. And I'm going to ask, in you, from all that you've gone through and all that you intentionally engaged yourself doing over the last 2 to 4 years, how have your choices, right, helped you to build happiness? that has also impacted various aspects of your life? And how have your choices really on this path, how have they improved your level of happiness, of joy, contentment, and peace? Also, of course, regardless of the things that you have no control over, have they also helped you improve your personal relationships at work and overall in life?
It's very, very good question. It's very reflective, actually. I never thought about it, but I know that I did many steps towards happiness, and that's made like a ripple effect in my life on all areas. Well, starting with mindfulness, being grateful for things, for the smallest things, journaling what I'm grateful for the day, what happened. I started noticing little things in life that matter. And that started to ignite the happiness that I'm so lucky to just have roof over my head,
Yeah.
to have food. Sometimes we don't appreciate these things. We take it for granted. But yeah, we need to appreciate these little things. Even appreciate your health, that you woke up today, that you have energy to wake up. All these things matter. So that was my very first transformation. I think just being grateful for life that you have,
Gratitude.
and yeah, gratitude for sure. And then just wanting to better relationships. Also, what that means sometimes that you need to let go of people that were not serving you,
Yeah. You need to forgive them as well, yes. For those that
and
hurt,
forgive
yeah.
them and just let them with the peace, and accept yourself that it's okay to let go of them, because there is also little people pleaser, Ieva, and
Are you
and probably
serious?
many of us do have. Yes, and it's difficult. It was difficult for me not to care what people think, not to care, well, to care of their feelings, because I'm a very empathetic person, but it's just not to be responsible of how they feel. I just had to continuously remind myself, you're not responsible for other people's feelings, and that's it. So that's something that really helped me as well, to just let go of things and let go of any control. I was so controlling. I wanted everything right here, right now,
Right now.
and even better yesterday.
So that's going to bring me. That's just going to bring me to the question, right? The question of, when we embark on this journey of self discovery and progressive self improvement, we are all excited about. Yeah, I got so much awareness, and we're going on it, and we're excited about it. But then there are setbacks, aren't they? There are times where you have setbacks. So tell me about a time where or when you had a setback or a difficulty maintaining this mindset. How did you overcome it? Or how did you overcome them?
I remember it very well, actually. I had many setbacks, and it's like more about discipline. At the end of the day, it's discipline. You have to push it. You want it or not, just continue doing. But I remember one day very well, because I was talking to my therapist, and she asked me, "How are you?" And I was just, "I'm tired of everything." And she said, "What everything? What are you tired of?" I was like, I'm not even talking about work or generally. I'm just even tired to meditate." And she said, and she started asking me questions and everything. And she said, "What happens if you let go of everything? Don't meditate." I told her, "I'm afraid I will never come back to meditation." I was like, you know how you go to gym, you go, and then you start going for a few weeks, and you have no more motivation to go back to the gym. You just So it's the same. I thought with meditation, all my habits and all my mindset, the moment I let go of it, I was afraid to lose it for good. But she told me, what's meant, it will come back. So if you're tired, just let go of it. Let go of everything. And I did. And I took a break from everything, from learning, from meditation. I just lived my life, but I did not practice. But believe it or not, it came back. Just one day when I rested it out, I wanted to meditate again. I wanted to read again. I wanted to continue. So probably when these setbacks happen in journey, because the journey is up and down, it's never one line. On that down, take a pause. Just rest. Rest it out. And if it's meant to be, it will come back. You will return by yourself.
You know why I'm
That's how it's.
smiling? I'm smiling so hard, so much. I feel like the edges of my lip are about to touch my ears, right? So the reason I'm smiling because I'm presently in one of these places.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get fit, toned, flexible, and strong for some time now. And I actually
Yeah.
changed my perspective from I want to lose weight. No, I don't. I just
Okay.
changed it from I want to lose weight to I want to be fit, I want to be toned, I want to be flexible, and I want to be strong. What does it require for me to do all of this? So I have been gymming for, I did a 90-day stretch of conscious
Okay.
eating, conscious resting, conscious daily exercising 6 times a week. I'm in the gym 6 times a week, right? And it's the first time I did a 90-day. I was like, okay, behaviors change in 60 to 90 days. So I did
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
on
exactly.
intermittent fasting for 90 days, gymming 6 times a
Wow.
week, 90 days straight. So by the time I was done, yes, I did lose some kilos. I'm a bit toned here and there, but I said, oh, I love what I just did. I love how I'm looking, but I'm not yet at my goal point. Let me do another 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what, Eva? I'm struggling. I said, but
Yeah.
I thought they said behavior changes in 90 days. I just did 90 days. This should be natural to me. Why am I? And then I'm just like, I don't want to go to the gym. I really just want to sleep. Oh, I'm just tired. Or why did this thing work as fast as I wanted? Or how come I'm feeling hungry? But for the last 90 days, I don't eat up until this time and I'm okay. Why am I suddenly feeling like if I don't eat, I'm going to die? And I'm just tired. You know what? Just bring me the food. Let me eat it. And I was telling myself yesterday that I think you need to take a break. You know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not yet at my goalpost, but I've not given up on it. I just need to rest, recalibrate. Probably the body is in so much shock from 90 days. Give it a bit of goody here and there, but remember that you can't go back to where you're coming from. You know what it was like. So while you're
Yeah.
here, maintain while you're here, no more pressures. When you feel good enough to go, you pick up from here. And so just hearing you say that was really sometimes just feel overwhelmed. I don't want to do any more. Question you want to ask ourselves: do you want to go back to where you're coming from? Of course not. I don't. All right. Are you where you want to get to? Not yet. Okay. But this place is like a bridge. Okay, let's just stroll a bit over this bridge, throw some stones into the water. Yeah, in this valley moment, pluck some weed along the valley, but trusting that the goalpost is still ahead. I still have stuff to achieve. I'm going to get up and keep moving. Right. So it is that's really phenomenal to hear. It's so phenomenal to hear. Well done. You're doing, oh my gosh. So
And that's what I tell. Yeah.
go ahead,
Sorry.
please.
That's what I tell my clients and my friends and everything. If you're tired, don't quit. Just
Yes.
rest.
Just rest.
Because
That's
what
it.
I heard from you as well, you know your why. You know your why you started
Yeah.
and why you want to achieve this. And this will always be your motivator. This will
Mm-hmm.
always come back. But if you're tired, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. So tell me how do you think self-awareness, or rather what role do you think that self-awareness can play, right? And how crucial is it in choosing one's happiness to avoid succumbing to that victim mentality?
Just, yeah. The self awareness is really about learning about yourself and
Yeah.
understanding your body, understanding your mind and your thought pattern.
Yeah. It's like the
If you're
popo.
self
I hope, sorry. I hope the popo ain't coming for you. That's the
no,
popo.
no, that's not for me.
That's the popo, right?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Okay. Okay. So I was asking, so let me just take that again.
Sorry.
And,
Yeah.
just yeah. So you were talking about how exactly, rather, what role does self awareness play specifically in helping us to choose ourselves and build happiness instead of succumbing to that place of a victim, of playing victim or having a victim mindset. How important is self-awareness?
It's so important because you are aware of your body, you're aware of your emotions, you're aware of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And where the victim mindset starts is from your thoughts. So the moment you catch yourself being there, um, blaming others, blaming environment, blaming sun and the moon for everything that happens, and
I
when
know
you
what you did
catch
there. Go
but
ahead.
I do believe in those things as well. So
Okay, no.
but no, just blaming everything except actually looking inwards. This is where we become victims of
Mm,
circumstances of life. But when we are self aware and we start noticing this pattern, even if we have this pattern,
yeah.
this is the first step. We are aware. And then what we're going to do to switch that? Are we going to use affirmations? Are we going to, I don't know, do a self talk,
Mm,
just to remind yourself that you're not a victim, that it's okay,
yeah.
we're okay. So self-awareness is the very first tool to get out of any pattern of your mindset,
Mm,
because if you're
mm.
not aware,
Yeah.
it's just simply subconscious, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, how do you imagine? I don't know what's the constitution of your clients, right? But in your coaching experience, what have you come to realize are the common patterns or challenges that individuals face when it comes to making that shift from victimhood
Mhm.
to empowerment? Right, how do you
Mhm.
support them through the transformation or the transition from a victim mindset to an empowered mindset?
Yeah, so what I noticed with the few people that I work now with, that there's a lot of resistance. So people who are in the victim mode, they usually resist anything, any challenge. Getting out of comfort zone is a total no. But I always start to ask them, why do you want to achieve your goal? Why do you want to change? What will
Mm,
happen if you will not do that?
yeah,
What will happen if you
if you
will
do.
actually get there? Yeah. And then they start thinking, aha, yes, that's how my life will change. Or, hey, I'm gonna stay in this position if I don't do. Then comes the fear in front of the obstacle. So when people are standing in front of their fear and just not making that leap of faith
Mm-hmm.
towards it, I always encourage them to look at their achievements. What have you achieved already? How did you achieve that? And then they start remembering that, yeah, I was afraid to do that as well, but I made it. And it's encouraging. So it's really just finding to remind them of what they already done,
Yeah.
because they did so many things, and even little achievements, they're so meaningful.
Yeah. And it's there's this song, I don't know if you ever heard it, but we grew up singing it.
Hmm.
Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your
Yeah.
blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. More like if we learn to take time to really count our achievements, pause and
Yeah.
I pause and just recognize your achievements. They are your badges of honor,
Hmm.
the things that you have done, no matter how little. If you put all of them together, you would realize
Yeah.
how far you've come. But if we spend the most time looking at what someone else is doing, we tend to never see
Oh
what
yeah.
we have done. And then we
Hmm.
get in the position of, I'm not good enough, that person is better than me. But that is because you're focusing on what they're doing and not giving thought to what you are doing.
No, and you're very right. And it just comes to my mind as you're talking that I always tell them to also write it down, because when we have things in our minds, it's just a blurry mess of
Blurry
information. But when we have it on the paper,
paper.
on the list, this is where it hits them. Ah,
Yes.
yeah, really.
Yes. And that's always like the eureka moment, right? Because I
Mhm.
mean, when I'm speaking to my clients and then they just go there, they're thinking through, and then they say something, I'm going to write it down. Like, yes, yes,
Mhm.
write it, just write it. And then when they're done writing, I'm okay, read out everything you've written. And then it's like when they're done reading it, I'm like, okay, had you ever done this before? And saying, this is the first time they're having to, I like to call it, sit with your thoughts. There's so much you can draw, so much insights that you can draw from just sitting with your thoughts, getting to become aware of them, and then choosing how to project with them or project from them. But one of the things I've also experienced with from clients and also in coaching practice is the fear or the uncertainty of sitting with our thoughts, because there is a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of trauma. And I like that you attributed that also, childhood traumas that we didn't deal with, that we just tucked away. And we feel that sitting with the thoughts are sitting is going to be sitting in that vulnerable place where we haven't dealt with, and we're not quite sure how far we're going to fall. So because we don't want to fall, we just leave it. And when we keep anchoring to other things and other people, and like you said, because we're afraid of being in our presence, we seek other people's presence, right?
Mhm.
And before you know it, we are overwhelmed with all of it. It's just been so insightful talking with you. Thank you. So
Yes.
I'm going to be asking you, what is that word of advice, right, that you're going to give someone that is in that state of overwhelmed because either because of internal traumas, because trauma can be the internal trauma we feel in ourselves or refuse to heal from, plus one other people are adding to us to the internal, right? So
Yeah.
external traumas and internal traumas all overwhelming us. What is that word of advice or guidance that you would offer them to help them to start their journey towards finding joy? I don't want to say, I don't, I they say happiness may be as a result of happenings around you, but to find joy, contentment, and peace, regardless of the things that you have no control over. So, how do they tackle that overwhelm and navigate to a place of joy, contentment, and peace?
I would probably, now that we spoke, I would first think I would remove myself from all the noise. And the overwhelm sometimes is just influenced from external factors, from social media as well, TV. Just remove any noise, any opinions, even your friends and family, and sit with yourself in a peaceful place and start observing your thoughts. Write it down. Write down what is overwhelming you, any stressor, and then sit with that list and really evaluate how heavy they are, why they are so heavy on you, which one is maybe the biggest one, which one is the smallest one. Just be curious and make it a little puzzle, a game out of it. Don't take it too seriously, just it's part of life. We have to figure out these things. So so just be curious and then pick one. And I would say probably pick the smallest and think, what is the one thing that I can do tomorrow to deal with it? And it can be anything. As if you're overwhelmed because you have pile of laundry in your room, for example, I will just do 5 pieces of that pile and I'll put it in the wardrobe. And that will be your already first step to start getting in order. So just really be curious, avoid noise, and just be with yourself. Feel yourself. And don't over push yourself or don't put so much pressure, because that's also another thing that we do a lot. We do put a lot of pressure
Oh
on
my
ourselves.
word, Eva. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break here because I'm out of breath and it's a breathlessness from overexcitement. I need to drink some water and just brood over all that Eva has come to this particular conversation with. In a few minutes and we'll be back. Welcome back. It's there's nothing as beautiful as having a conversation that leaves you excited. Like I am excited. I'm having goosebumps. Honestly, Eva, really, I'm excited because it's almost like deep calling on to deep. There's so many things that I share with you, and it feels like we have met, even though this is
Yeah.
our first engagement, right? But there are so many places where your experiences connect with mine, and your choice of of your choice for self to not be the victim, but to be the victor, to be empowered regardless of what you have been through, and not see yourself as the person that cannot fight back, is just it's. I mean, I have a mantra that no matter what comes or goes, no matter what gives in or doesn't, you never give up until you win, and even if you don't win, finish strong. And it's just so beautiful to see how you have blossomed regardless of life, and how you are choosing yourself. You first chose to build yourself, and after having built yourself, I beg your pardon, you're now trying to help other people also find and build themselves so that they too can build people. And that's such a beautiful ripple effect. And I want to say on behalf of all the people you're going to impact, thank you. First, thank you for choosing the path for yourself. I mean, this is because there are many people, like I said during our conversation, there are people that settle for what has happened to them. They settle for that loss. They settle for that pain. They settle for that grief. They settle for that toxicity and take it as life being unfair. Life is not fair, and refuse to do something from. But there you are, shutting out all the noise and sitting within to pick your thoughts carefully and remap them to a place of progressive improvement. And that is such a light to share to other people. And I really want to say thank you. And just final words, what is that last thing that you'd like to say before we call it a session?
No, first of all, I want to thank you for also spreading all this knowledge for the people and doing also the job on your part, making an impact. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And I just want to tell everyone that you have always choice in your life, and there's always options. There are always other perspectives. And sometimes you just need to empty your cup, forget everything you know,
Yeah.
and just start
Yeah.
over, fresh, new.
Oh,
And this
wow.
will be your next level, next step. But yeah, for it to happen, new level, you need to let go of old ones.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was Eva. That is Eva. I look forward to connecting with you stronger on all platforms. And hey, it's a global village. You never know. Malta is not so far away.
Yeah.
And to find myself, I'm definitely. So next time, what my husband and I are talking about Malta, I'll be like, I know someone in Malta. I'm just gonna, hi,
Yeah.
Eva. So hey, it would be great to connect with you further. And hey, you all have heard it. This is such an inspiration hearing you and listening to the process of your journey. And I really thank you again. And just to encourage everyone that is listening that hey, you can't quite determine when life is going to throw that lemon. And like I said, there are options. Options are always available. And if there's one thing I also like to say, that adversity for Eva, her adversity was losing her brother, being in a toxic relationship, and also not being from a very supportive or heartwarming growing up background. Those are life's adversities. Those may be disruptions, but one thing is when you sit with them and choose to see them from a different perspective, adversity can reintroduce you to yourself in a manner that you could never have done if those adversities didn't come. Where you now also choose to move away from a place of being the victim to the place of being the victor, having an empowered mindset over a victimized mindset. And I like to say that life sure does happen. But one thing is that no matter what comes or goes, no matter what gives in or doesn't, you never give up until you win. And winning is not always guaranteed. So even if you don't win, by all means, ensure that you finish strong. And if you have the strength, start all over again and do it all over again. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. And hey, so many more conversations to come that will transform you. Up until then, stay amazing and you have a fantastic life. Cheers.